Abbott has a familiar Democratic challenger vying for his seat, Beto O'Rourke. The opponents couldn't be more different, but they do have one thing in common. Take a listen.
There are very legitimate concerns at our U.S.-Mexico border about the smuggling of illegal drugs, about the trafficking in human beings, and even those who are trying to claim asylum or come to this country to work or join family. There has to be a far more orderly process for them to do that than what we're seeing right now.
Well, here to react is a member of the House Appropriations Committee, Democratic Congressman from Texas, Henry Cuellar. Congressman, good to see you again. How are you? Do you think that this administration has a plan in place when they rescind this Title 42 pandemic era restriction that's been in place for the border?
Well, I think they say that they have one, but in my opinion, I don't think it's going to work because part of that plan is to move some of the CBP officers from the northern part of the border to the southern border. And as you know, that's only temporary. Look, at the Laredo sector and at the Rio Grande sector, if you talk to the folks there, they're only working with about 40% of the men and women because the other 60% are in the border processing centers, changing diapers, making food for the migrants. And again, that's not their place. They're supposed to be out there securing the border. So 60% of the men and women out there are not doing the mission work that they're supposed to be doing because they're doing babysitting work without due respect to the migrants.
Is that because the administration hasn't gotten them enough backup help? I mean, why are they put in this situation?
Well, we had a little trouble trying to hire Border Patrol. I sit as the vice chair of the Homeland Appropriations. Finally, we got some monies this year to add more men and women for Border Patrol. We've been trying, but it's been a little fight uphill, but I think we're going to get it done. We need to hire more Border Patrol, and we certainly need to make sure we have ICE and Air Marine and the men and women in blue to make sure they're out there because, as Pete said, look, the morale for our men and women in green is low. They feel that they don't have their backs. And we got to make sure that we don't just give them a pat on the back and say, good job. No, we need to send them personnel. We need to send them equipment. We need to send them technology, drones, making sure that they have what they need so they can do their job. And again, their job is to be out on the border and not in border processing centers doing diaper changing and all that type of work. And keep in mind, when you take away Title 42, which I think Title 42 should stay because don't we still have a pandemic here in the U.S.? You can't say that you get rid of the Title 42, the health order at the border, and still do something else in the rest of the country. The only ones that are going to be coming out winning if you take out Title 42 are the cartels because, again, they're marketing, they're staging, they're trying to bring in more people because every time they bring in somebody, and Sean, you know this very well, they will charge $8,000 average. $8,000. We had 1 million individuals that we encountered, not the getaways, but the encounter. That's $8 billion that they made in just 6 months.
So, Congressman, when I hear you, everything that you say makes a ton of common sense. You talk about the human rights aspect of it. You talk about the drug aspect of it. And I hear other Democrats like Kristen Sinema, Mark Kelly from Arizona, other senators on the board. Why is this turned out to be such a partisan issue? That there are fewer and fewer Democrats that actually have the same concerns that Henry Cuellar does.
Well, look, if you live, and I'm talking about anybody, if you live 1,000 miles away, you don't understand what happens here at the border. You have to understand by talking to the landowners, talking to the mayors, to the county judges, the commissioners of police, the sheriffs, and all that. They will tell you something very differently. They would tell you that they believe in immigration reform, but they want to see law and order at the border. They want to see people like my father that became a legal resident and then a naturalized citizen. That took them years to come in the legal way. Right now, they're seeing people just jump the line, get in a bus, get on an airplane and fly into the United States and then wait years before they get an immigration court hearing. So we want to treat people with dignity and respect, but at the same time, we don't want to see open borders. And people that don't live here just don't understand what we go through. And I'll say this, Sean, and you and I have talked about this. Look, I think the administration, with all respect, is just listening to the immigration activists. But who is listening to the men and women in green and in blue, Homeland? Who's listening to the border communities, the sheriffs, the county judges, and all that, the landowners? You got to listen to the landowners, to the border communities, and also to the men and women in green, and not just to immigration activists.
Yeah, I would add also to the parents whose children are dealing with fentanyl issues around the country, Congressman. So I do appreciate your leadership on this issue, and thank you for coming and sharing this with us. So thank you for your leadership, and I wish you well. Look forward to having you back, sir.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Lindsay.